Welcome officially to our, I guess this we'll call it our first supplement selling session in our Q&As. And so thank you so much. We have Rodney here from our strategic partner at BioEdge. One thing that I want you to think about. So we hadn't even gotten into it. And if you're watching this secondary, you're not on the call, or if you're on the call, I have a simple rule that I want you to follow. I don't want you to go and Google BioEdge. I don't want you to go and look for them on Amazon. I don't want you to go ahead and do third-party things. I want you to wait because you're going to get the best opportunity to join the program through us. That is why it's set up that way. So we'll be dropping the link in the chat here shortly. And then also, if you missed this call and you're watching this secondarily, you'll be able to get that link inside of our circle chat and inside of email when we send out the recording for this. So don't hop on, don't try to Google it, don't try to go there because you're not going to be able to get the type of deal. Plus, you're going to miss a golden opportunity to hear what my man Rodney has to say. And we're going to do it. And so it's very random that you get a kindred in the fitness industry that understands like not just how to sell a product, but how the product not only affects the person who's selling, but also affects the end user. And so like, that's why I think that that's not one of the reasons why we chose BioEdge. And then we'll talk a little bit more today in regards to what that looks like. Today, we're going to treat this call a little differently than the Q&A. This is going to be Rodney and I going through this thing, and I'm going to be asking Rodney some questions. And we're going to treat it a little bit more like a podcast today, where I'm going to ask some questions. He's going to give us some phenomenal answers. And if you have questions, just do us a favor, throw those things and open those questions in the chat as they come up. Some questions we may get to, or some questions you may hear as we're rocking and rolling through this thing. So here is to you guys. And then Rodney, welcome officially to the call on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cool. All right, man, let's get started. So Rodney, can you do me a solid, right? So we've never partnered up with a supplement company like previous to now, right? Like in terms of Biz Solutions. Everybody on the call has dealt with a previous supplement company, or they tried to do it on their own, or they held supplements, whatever it looks like. So tell me a little bit about the story, like kind of behind BioEdge and like what even got BioEdge started.
Okay, yeah. So me personally and the whole BioEdge team has been in the industry for over 20 years. I've gone to the Arnold, the Olympia, and saw supplements way back in the day before it actually became really popular. During that time and going every single year, recognize what's been effective and what hasn't been effective. And 20 years today compared to back then, things have changed so much. What people are looking for are effective ingredients that can improve your health, wellness, and fitness, and while not compromising your health. So there's lots of products out there for the big bodybuilder that would give them ingredients to be able to get them muscular, get them ripped, but it has a negative impact on their body as well. Most people, I imagine, that are at the gym want to be able to look and feel better. And ingredients out there, if that's the case, they have to be effective, but they also have to be clean. They have to be natural. And so I've heard over and over and over this. So and that's exactly how Bio became a company, is because it needed to produce all natural ingredients that were super effective. And also another piece is it had to be enjoyable. They had to taste good. And that's not easy for being all natural.
Yeah. So like, would you say, because when we're talking about this, you kind of went into it, but is that like the differentiating factor between BioEdge and other people, is the fact that it is all natural, and the fact like, and we've had it and like, we love the taste of it, right? So like, and as everybody on here is going through this, you guys will taste it as well. But like I love the morning shots, or that's when I drink them, is in the morning. I drink the protein even like now in the afternoon, like as my snack. And then I just started the pre-workout actually this morning because I didn't even know, I forgot that I had it. And so I was like, oh, let me give it a shot. Absolutely phenomenal. Not a lot of beta alanine. Anybody ever had their face almost fry off from like beta alanine, like inside of it? Like I know you probably have, as to where like you just get like, you're just jacked up and you feel all the stuff. It was great. And that's from the caffeinated version. And so there's also one that doesn't have caffeine in it. But with that being said, like, what do you think, Rodney, is like the biggest differentiating factor between what you guys are doing and then what other supplement companies on the market are doing right now?
Well, there's many things actually, but it's funny when you touched on the beta alanine and the caffeine. So those are very common in products like pre-workout. Well, in beta alanine, you have 3.2 grams of beta alanine, for example, in the bodybuilding type. Well, that makes the face feel all numb, everything. And 9 out of 10 people, studies show that 9 out of 10 people don't like that feeling. It actually throws them off. 1 out of 10 love it, but 9 out of 10 don't like it. The thing is that if you get 600 to 800 milligrams of beta, that will provide 90% of the effectiveness of what beta alanine can do. And so that's a great amount that will get you the results, but also not give you the negative side effects. Same with caffeine.
Yes.
Same with caffeine. When we look at
Oh, go ahead.
caffeine, most pre-workouts have 350 to 400 milligrams of synthetic lab-made caffeine. Well, that gets you all hyped up, but what happens is also a major crash. So for everyday people, this is not what they want to be able to go through. It screws up their adrenal glands and makes them not feel good after. Well, what happens is what we use is when you talk about the caffeine, we use caffeine from green tea leaf, the most bioabsorbable source at 100 milligrams. So it would be like a strong cup of coffee. So we have the ingredient profiles that make sense for people to be able to get results without compromising their health.
I love that. And part of this too, right, is we ran a couple of studies in regards to like just polling the members. And then we also had some data from before this in regards to like the actual percentage of gym owners that actually are selling supplements inside of the business, right? And so like it's 20% of gym owners that are consistently selling supplements. And the number reason why is because typically speaking, when individuals hear supplement sales, they think that it's this high pressure situation as to where like, like you're sitting Mrs. Jones down, she's in the corner, she's spending the last dollar, and Keith got her all tied up and like it's supplements and nothing, right? When at the end of the day, like you and I, Rodney, like when we talk about this, it's like it has nothing to do with that. It's more so in regards to like how can we get them a sensible solution to how they're already moving, but then how do you also create a way that increases the LTV for your clients and covers the cost of ad spend. It does so many cool things in regards to like what we're doing. You just said something, and I want to circle back to it really quickly too. Was you mentioned something like I'm an old football player, so it's I'm gonna say this is pre CTE days where like when you were taught. Sam remembers this is like when you're taught to like they used to call it putting your face in the blender. Sam, do you remember that? Like you remember that term? So it basically is like you're putting your face right on the person's like right in their chest as you're making the play. To me, that's what beta alanine used to feel like. And so I take it and it tingles up. And for me, I used to be like, all right, I'm ready, right? Because my face is in the blender. But like, if I think about my wife, who has never had to put her face in the blender, who has never had a concussion, who has never had to tackle a grown man or be in a, what we used to call him was a full-fledged car crash. She never had to do any of those pieces. That is the target demographic are the Heather Dunhams of the world who have multiple kids, who have discretionary income, who are, for lack of better terms, worried about the way they look because they want to feel a certain way and they want to be able to move a certain way. Why does this product, with the lack of the synthetic caffeine, the lack of those other pieces, like why does this appeal to those individuals? Because everybody on the call has had somebody sit with them and be like, oh, this has got red number 3 in it. I'm not taking it. Now, granted, she just drank beer and had a Snicker, but she'll turn down the thing because it's got red number 3 in it. So like, why is this different, Ron?
Well, it's funny because a gym owner, you want to be able to service your clients. You want the best for your clients. Obviously, it's a business, but you really want to service your clients. You want the best for your clients, and that is results. And I'm sure you know this, Dave, but the number one reason why there's churn, the number one reason why somebody quits the gym is because they're not getting the results that they expected. And that's what's really interesting because when you're not getting the results, you try it for 6 months, 3 months, whatever it might be. This is not for me because I'm the same weight or whatever it might be. Well, what happens is the individual that goes through that whole process, they look at the area and the gym owner really wants to hold on to their members. Understandably so, you don't want them to be able to quit. But how you can do that is by getting results. And so when you talk about Heather right there, whatever Heather's goals are, when you combine exercise and nutrition including supplementation, which would be macros and micros, then there's a much better chance that Heather, for example, would be able to reach her goals with that consistency. The difference between a nutritional plan and a supplement plan, because they are integrated, is that the nutritional plan is very difficult to be able to stay on track of. If it was easy, we all would be doing it anyways, and it wouldn't be a problem. But to be able to take your protein shake or your greens drink, you can do that in 30 seconds. Okay. So if you have that to be all natural now you're only putting 100% goodness into your body. There's no dyes, there's nothing like this. So one, you can feel good about it. Two, yeah, and number two, you can actually get the results. And if you get the results, then the person sticks at the gym longer.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal. One of the things, and Trevor Baxter's probably going to kill me about this, but one of the things that I think about when I think about my guys, right? Because in creating this partnership, when Heather brought it to me and she was like, these are the people who I want to go with. This is what they're doing. I think they're phenomenal. I'm instantly skeptical. I got a little bit of skepticism, right? Because I'm like, I'm thinking about it in regards to like my old personal trainer days and my old athlete days where I'm like, hey, does it have this, this, and this? Right. And so when I think about a person, and really the reason why I brought you up is because you already have a nutrition program in place. You already got a nutrition practice in place. And so what I really think about is that how can we take this and ensure that the quality of the product that we have is something at which that like everyone in the system will be proud to have in their facilities. And the only reason I say that is this is that I always used to make the joke beforehand when we were dealing with a previous company at another post. And I used to talk about the fact that like you've got two types of supplement sales that typically happen. One are the things that people believe in the most, and two is the things that are directly in front of somebody's face, which is why most people are willing to buy sawdust from their friends because they got out of the back of their trunk. And then the coach is afraid to sell it because he doesn't necessarily understand or believe in the product. So if we're talking about quality, because I think that's the number one thing that it matters to our coaches and what we're going to talk about specifically with them is for people who already have like established programs inside of their gym, how do we help them with the whole like understanding the quality of the product and then like kind of what steps do you guys take to ensure, because a lot of supplement companies skip over steps to get products out. So like what steps do you guys take to ensure like the product quality is where it needs to be?
Yeah, well said. Product quality is so important because coaches and gym owners, they have the trust of the individuals, of the members. So the members, they're joining their gym, they believe in what they're saying. So you're right, they could sell sawdust if they wanted to, but ultimately they're not going to be able to get the results from that. So the idea behind something to be sustainable for the long term, it has to be effective because if you can sell sawdust to somebody, it's not going to continue on down the road because they're going to have bloating issues. They're going to have issues with it. Yeah. So, and the idea is to be able to have ingredients that work because if you're going to spend all the time doing the marketing, get it out to all the people, it needs to work. Bottom line, it needs to work. So what we did is we doubled down on that. So our products, we source out the best, most natural, effective products out there to be able to ensure that they work together in uniform to make that product get the results. For example, we have an organic green stick. Does everyone know AG1? Everyone's familiar with AG1. It's very popular. It sells $1.2 billion a year. Very, very popular. And it's a fine product. Basically, it's a reason why somebody takes a product like AG1 is to be able to get their daily vegetables and micronutrients and minerals in there. Okay. Did you know that the disclosure on that is called proprietary, so they don't disclose the amount, but I do know it's 2.013 grams of vegetables like spinach and kale. Okay. That's about 2 servings of 5 that your body needs. So that's underdosed significantly, but nobody would know that because you need to get at least 5. Okay. And so in BioEdge, we actually have 2 grams of organic kale alone. Of course, organic spinach and so on and so on, but there's a total of 5 grams. So there's 2.5 times the amount of vegetables in that. Okay. And that is an example of the big difference is that if you ask 9 out of 10 people about AG1, okay, great. They wouldn't know the amount. So you're getting an underdosed amount. And those are the pieces that we try to provide information for coaches and trainers to be able to provide to their members so they would know the difference. It's funny because I've talked to hundreds of coaches and I asked that question, how many grams or servings of vegetables in AG1? Not one person has told me the answer. I'm not sure. You see? So if coaches don't know that, how do their members?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And the only reason that I love it because I love debunking like just random facts that people believe, you know what I'm saying? And so at the end of the day, like I think that's absolutely phenomenal to point that out is the fact that like you guys have put in twice as many vegetables inside of a serving and it still doesn't taste like trash. And so like I think it tastes phenomenal. Plus it allows us to be able to kind of like put a cheat code in, like getting those out of the way. So the next thing that I can kind of think of with you is like, you just kind of answered the question because you were like, hey, so I asked trainers that they don't know. This is what AG1 has. It's a widely known brand. So the next thing would be is like, how do we, and really how do you guys, because like our support is different, right? The support that we're going to give them is how to put together the best play, how to ensure that we can increase lifetime value, how to ensure that like that they're selling the right things to individuals at the right times. Like we're going to help them with all that stuff. But like, how do you guys offer support from the BioEdge side to our members to ensure that like they have the level of support they need to?
So without support, it's going to fail. because gym owners are very busy doing their thing and everything. They're not experts in this, or how can they be? But what we do is we have a system in play, and this is specifically for your group. This is one of those benefits I think that Heather was talking about earlier about going through, is that all of your gyms that become a part of this, if they are connected to you, we provide one-on-one support. So we do an onboarding with them. We explain the process to them in detail. We answer every single question, because there's not one question that's not a good question, and show them how this whole everything about the products, what products work best with what people based on their avatar, and on and on and on. So we set them up for success to be able to go through. Obviously, it's a benefit to us, and it's a benefit to the gym owners, but but most importantly, it's a benefit to the members, because the members are going to get results.
Yeah. And just to let everybody know too, so a large part of this is that we believe in the product so much, in the partnership with them, is that like the communication path, like to allow them to just do what they're really good at, which allows us to do what we're really good at. We know that like that makes the process go well. I don't know, is anybody like familiar with like the Elon Musk has like three fundamental things in regards to like when he created Tesla? Is anybody familiar with those? Okay. Let me Google this real quick. Don't Google me. So here's the thing. The number one fundamental that he did is that when he built the first car, right? He built the Roadster. That Roadster was built on the frame of a previous vehicle that was already in production. But he did that because he understood that if he could already have a patented, proven track, then at the end of the day, like he could accelerate the process for that particular brand. And so if you're thinking about what we're attempting to do on this, is like we've been fortunate enough to see what worked and what didn't work. And so now we're just building on top of that proven track. Does that make sense? BioEdge has a really good grasp in regards to like what they're doing, how to sell, what to sell. We have a really good track in regards to like what the market wants, how you guys should be selling, what volume that you guys should be selling at. And so we marry the two to be able to create the better environment for you guys. Does that make sense? Very cool. All right. Tell me a little bit about this, because I know that the guys are probably getting edgy because we're talking about like all the fluffy stuff. So I'm gonna have to get like some deeper stuff with you here in a minute, because I can hear Marion's voice of like, well, when do we get to the money? So I'll get to that in a minute. So basically, like, here's what I want to think about, right? Why did you guys? So I've talked a little bit about why we chose you, but why did you guys choose us? Like, what made you choose Fitbits?
Well, exactly what you're saying right here, Dave and Heather. We spoke earlier, and you obviously have a tremendous amount of experience in the industry. And the bottom line is, to be able to run a gym is not easy. It takes business acumen required to be able to do it. And if gyms close down, that means all the people in the community aren't going to be able to be fit and healthy. And the thing is that most gym owners are excellent trainers, but they have difficulty in running the business. So after speaking with you guys a couple of times, it became clear to us that you're going to create a great pathway for these gyms and their members to reach success. So that's exactly why we would be able to want to partner with somebody with a like-minded people, to be able to go make a real difference, positive impact on people as well as the gym owners.
Awesome. What advantages do our clients get? So like, what are the advantages that by being on like with us, like what are the advantages they get?
Over like
We can go broad on this.
Okay, massive advantages. Nothing bigger than what I said, where it's the onboarding, which guarantees success by following the certain 7-step implementation, guaranteed to be successful, which will not only result in selling more supplements, but it will also result in the clients being more successful and them loving the gym even more. So those are the area that those areas, but then that sort of support network is in place, but also there's financially they're going to get a way better offering to be able to make more money and more for residual money off of this than they would of a general person. So there's lots of factors on the products to be able to benefit the people, but also from a business financial point.
Sweet. So you mentioned financial. So I guess we'll go ahead and hit it. Sam turned his microphone and turned his camera back on. So it means I know he means business. So like with him hopping back on and being an ex-detective, I know he's going to message you and be like, what are the percentages? How does this work? What do we get? So like, walk me through just a general overview. Like, we're going to give them all the information, all those other pieces, but just give me like a general overview in regards to, like, you mentioned that they can make money, but like, what does that look like?
Yep. So we have two distinct systems, and you can merge the two systems as well. It really depends on whatever works best for your particular gym. Okay, so one, we have an online system where somebody can just order online, so they don't carry any inventory. They don't put out 1 cent up front, nothing. So there's no financial obligation to the individual. And from there, what they do, the person makes about 20% profit. And on the average customer, that works out to about $40 per month. Okay. The other system is more of the traditional system where, hey, things are going well. I have inventory in place. So what you were saying earlier, Dave, about having the product right in front of somebody, when by doing that, the individual make 40 to 45% dependent upon the item, and that can work out to about $80 per person per month.
Awesome. What are you, so like one thing that I didn't hit on earlier, because I was talking completely out of bias, telling what I like, what are the products that you're seeing across the board that most people like? Because like one of the things that you and I talked about, which I know you have a gym, and when we were talking about like, yeah, that I think is great, but I want you to kind of go in a little more detail on is we talked about individuals because the biggest stopgap for most gym owners is the fact that like most people don't follow the nutrition plan, right? And so one of the things that we used to always joke with is tell people like, if it's not on the meal plan, you can't eat it, right? And they're like, oh, but what about this? And you're like, is it on the meal plan, Mr. Jones? And so like, but if we're able to substitute that, which means we're able to drop the cost of what a meal looks like for them, then I think that like it can definitely work for longevity. So like, what are your best selling products? I know we talked about protein. I know we've talked about your greens. Are those the best too, or what are the best selling products?
Well, those are foods right there. So protein as a food is high macro, low in carbs, low in fat. We have plant protein as well as whey protein. So of course, those are super, super popular. To be clear, is the protein is always a foundational piece. A second foundational piece is the greens. 94% of people don't get their daily servings of vegetables. This is a great thing to do, especially when people are exercising. They need more micronutrients. So those two are essentials, are foundational pieces. But on top of that, most people that join a gym, they do that because they want to be able to lose weight. So, I mean, the gym owners here could attest to that, or there's a high percentage of people that want to be able to lose weight. In order to be able to do that, we have a fat burner. It's an all natural fat burner. So it's not one of the dangerous ones that's loaded with stimulants and caffeines. This one here is a natural drink with electrolytes, including organic coconut powder. It has BCAAs as well as thermogenets in there. It tastes terrific and it's 0 calories. This is something that is super popular for people to be able to take when their goal is to be able to knock off 10 plus pounds. And then, of course, the big area on gut health. Gut health is a massive, massive area. IBS, bloating, inflammation, all those things for general health. And we have a probiotic, a prebiotic, and a leaky gut soother drink, which sells. So those 4 products there, 75% of every member at the gym gets those 4 products.
Sweet. So like if we were putting together like a fundamental stack, that would be the fundamental stack.
Yeah. So a fundamental stack would be the greens and the protein, but would be a wellness stack, a lifestyle stack would be those 4. A weight loss would be those. Yes.
Perfect. Awesome.
We actually have all those done.
Awesome. I love it. Cool. And then next would be is the gym owners that are working with us, right? So the next question I know naturally for them is like, okay, once we're in there, like how do we start the sales process off? Like how do we start selling to our customers? Like how do we start making money on this immediately?
Yeah. Well, there's many ways to be able to do that, but then that could go off script, or there's a system to be able to do that. And that's something that we will provide. It's a very simple process to be able to go through. And for example, I think if you have a nutritional plan, that becomes great because it just gets integrated as part of that. That's ideal. Alternatively, we have a 7-step plan that you would do. For example, I'll quickly go through the quick steps, the overviews of it. The owner would go in and do a video and talk about something like, I get this question a lot, are supplements necessary? And if so, which ones do you take? And then would answer that question. So that would not only hit one person, but it would hit their whole network. Okay. Then the second one is any coaches involved, they would have a similar type of thing. And the third piece is to be able to get key members that love the gym, love the culture, love everything about it. And then you handpick those people to get them on that stack, for example, to try it out and get their honest feedback. Now you have testimonials from the owner, maybe a coach, and 3, 4, 5 members. From there, you do a sampling. And from the sampling, it's pre-orders, and it goes like crazy. That is the 7-step, basically the 7 steps to be able to do. Alternatively to that, or in addition to that, I should say, anybody that does consultations like onboarding consultations, anything like that, that is the perfect time to be able to go and incorporate this into their, 3-month milestones, however a gym owner does that. Through the consultations, it's 100% success rate.
I love it. I guess one of the cool things in this, and you guys know this, is like we always separate the two sales, right? So there's only one decision made at each sales opportunity. And so, Rodney, you kind of hit the nail on the head in regards to like you go through the process, we sell them on the front end, and then we come in on the backside. And on onboarding, then we're able to talk and discover and work through the nutrition portion with them. All right, I'm gonna hit you with a hard question. This is off script here, so like you're gonna have to bear with me on this one. Okay, with such a high number of individuals that currently that aren't taking or aren't selling supplements, what is an easy way for a person who has struggled in the past to sell supplements, a person who has maybe struggled to keep individuals in their gym on supplements? Like, what's an easier way that you have seen, or what's the best way that you've seen with all the gyms that you work with to be able to create a consistent sales process? Because I know that like one of the biggest things is like, well, the three biggest fears that most gym owners have when it comes to selling supplements. Number one, I don't want to take the person's last dollar, right? Number two is I have a hard time reminding the individuals of being able to take the supplement. I don't really know how to create the process for that. And then number three is just the fact that like I don't want to sell them something else. So like if you're talking to gyms, or what are you hearing from other gym owners that maybe that have those same fears?
Many do. Actually, most do. Exactly what you're saying right there. The thing is that when you have members coming into your gym, your duty is to be able to help them get results, find out what their goals are, and get them the results. And trust me when I say this, they could train 7 days a week and they're going to get limited results if their nutrition is a mess to be able to go through. And the idea is that you can have a nutrition plan. So I think Trevor might be able to answer this question, but say you have every 100 members that you have probably up to 20%, like somewhere around 20% in the nutritional plan. Of course, that'll vary based on the nutrition program, but it's not 100% conversion over. Okay. And nutrition is arguably more important than than the training. Okay. When you do the nutrition plan, if people aren't partaking in the nutrition plan, then what happens is that you're ultimately not going to get results. And then the members eventually move on because they're not getting results. If you can incorporate nutrition, and specifically the BioEdge as part of the nutrition to make it an easier system, then the individuals get the results and now they're super happy. And then they stay on because they're getting the results. So the key thing here is for the coaches and the owners to have a good understanding of this and not be afraid. Be confident in this type of thing. Hey, my role is to get results. And if you're going to continue to eat that kind of stuff, I don't care how much we train, it's not going to be able to happen. So we want to be able to get the results, and what we put in your mouth and what we don't put in your mouth will actually help you, will turbocharge you to be able to get there.
Yeah, I love that. A part of that too is funny because I used to have this thing I used to call it the Gymocratic code, right? Like long story short, it basically is just the ability of the gym owner to be open and honest and do what's right by the gym, like by the gym goer long term, right? And so I think that you hit on that. Plus, like I know Trevor, I saw you over there shaking your head because I know you heard me say 20% of people have to be in an elevated program, and 20% of those individuals need to be in that supplement side. So I think that's great. I think one thing to think about for all of this. So if you're watching this call or if you're on the call, I even want you to, like, Kels, I see you back there. I want you to listen to this too, is the fact that like people, or let me say this the right way, everybody eats. Does that make sense? So you mentioned something earlier, Rodney, about like, hey, like this is a food product. Like protein and greens are a food product, right? Cool thing about this is, and maybe you haven't thought about this, maybe you guys are thinking about it this way, and I'm just preaching to the choir, but one thing to think about would be this specifically, is that everyone eats. And if you look at the cost of protein and greens, the mitigated cost of those two over the course of the month, that means each meal is sub $3. Name one thing that's a sub $3 meal. What's one thing that you can buy for sub $3 to be nourishing, give you 30 grams of protein, and help you be satiated so you're not hungry for a longer period of time? What's one thing? Is there churro? I don't like, does that work? I don't know. Like, I'm just, the point behind this is that like at the end of the day, when we're thinking about these pieces is like you guys hear me talk about all the time, like the number one obligation that we have is to make you guys better business owners, not better gym owners. But a part of being that is like understanding like the overall thought process behind some of these pieces is like, if you are afraid to sell supplements, or maybe that like I have been there and seen individuals flop in different environments. But if you are, the cool thing about what we're introducing to you today is that if you just think about things from a fundamental standpoint, and then you only sell things that you can get behind or that people actually need to solve the problem, then it goes a longer way in what you're doing. This isn't about like, hey, Trevor, I want you to sell everybody 17 different items and then they only consume three. Raise your hand if you've ever done that before, right? So then what's the lifetime value of that person? 1 month, one pay cycle. So is it more important for you to get one large sale, or is it more important for us to get a person to have a healthy lifestyle because they're on the road with us? Does that make sense? So I want you guys to think from the strategy standpoint, because the more that you can think from there, the more money you will make because you'll help more people. Is that fair? Cool. All right, Ronnie. Sorry, I took you off script. I apologize on that one, but I wanted to make sure I wanted to make sure we were good to go. Next question that I have for you is, and I think this is great for the guys to think about too, or for everyone to think about too, as they're watching this, is like, what are the trends that you're seeing right now, like in the supplement industry, right? You guys, that whole like cappuccino thing that you guys sent me, there's something phenomenal about that, and it's the fact that it's a single serving pouch, and I don't think that that gets enough credit because legitimately, like we were going, like I think we were going to like a cheer competition, and I could take my pouch with me, and I didn't have to take all the stuff. And granted, it gave me energy for the cheer competition. If you've never been to one, take a cappuccino with you. Don't go without it. So, but like, tell me a little bit about the trends that you're seeing. That's a trend that I've seen is you guys have so many single serving pouches that allow individuals to take things on the go, which means the consumption rate rises, which means the rate of repurchase rises as well. So what are some trends that you're seeing?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because in the trending, someone I think maybe Sam, were you just eating or Trevor was just eating right now? To be able to go and eat and put your meals together and everything is not that easy to do. Most people, most gym members don't want to be able to do that. It's all about convenience. That is difficult to do for a lot of people. So there has been a demand from BioEdge because people love the bottles so much. They loved it, but they say, I want to have it in my bag. I want to be able to have it at work. I want to have this in my purse, whatever it might be, because they became obsessed with it. Exactly. So we incorporated a single service of everything to make things easier and more convenient for the members to be able to enjoy. And so we do that across the board, every single product. And that's been really, really successful because now people have this. And the crazy thing about it is they end up giving it out to, their friends or coworkers or what have you. And that gets more people exposed to that. And literally that happens at a gym as well. And when a gym member gives that out to somebody, then where did you get that? They go to the gym to be able to make a purchase. I believe, have many reported cases of that happening as well. But
It's funny. What's funny is like the first weekend that we got all the supplements from you guys. We went to my nephew's soccer game, and we came home, and there's a friend who was here, and I'm taking my cappuccino shot, and he's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "No, I'm sorry, I was taking my greens." And he's like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's my greens, and it's X, Y, and Z. I love them." He's like, "What do it taste like?" I'm like, "It tastes really, really good." He's like, "I've been on Athletic Greens for the past like 2 years, and I don't really know if I want to renew." And I'm like, "Cool." He's like, "Can I have some?" I'm like, "Sure." So I gave him some. He messaged me like, I don't know, it was like Saturday. He messaged us on Sunday, and he's like, "When can I buy some from you guys?" I'm like, "Once we figure out what we're gonna do, you can buy some from us." But the same exact thing is the fact that like you will or they will have the ability to share them. But the coolest thing about like what you guys are doing or what I see on that is that like it increases consumption because the death of supplements are the containers that sit on top of the refrigerator, right? And everybody knows what I'm talking. I see the eyes where everybody's like, "Yeah, you got us." And what that is it really is we giving out supplements without a plan. So what happens is they put that thing on top of the refrigerator. I'm like, "Oh, I'll get to it," but then it becomes out of sight, out of mind. But with these single packs, like what's dope is that it allows the person to like take them on the go and do the things they need to. So it improves consumption. Consumption is always king. No matter what they're doing, consumption is always king. And so I think that's phenomenal. To flip this, what are the biggest mistakes that you've seen from all the gyms that you guys are working with? Like, what are the biggest like faux pas that you guys have seen?
So just being frantic, what happens without following a system? So if you're a gym without a mentor like yourself, this happens all the time. So people get so busy running between different things and never get anything done. So they try and implement this. They do all these different tasks, and at the end of the day, there's no time, and they don't get the task done. They don't follow the 7 steps because, oh, I'll get to it next week. I'll get to it next week. Kind of like the weight loss journey. I'm going to exercise and eat better next week, or I'm waiting for a, New Year's resolution or whatever it might be. No, it's to be able to start now, today, to be able to get these done. That's been the biggest problem, is not executing and following the steps one to seven to complete that. If you follow the steps 1 to 7, it's foolproof. It'll work 100%.
I like it. Every process stays the same. Close, nutrition meeting, everything stays the same. I like that. Where do you see the supplement industry heading, right? So like it's already $1 billion industry, but like where do you see the supplement industry heading in the next couple of years?
Before supplements, like I said, when I first started, it was for the bodybuilder. It was for the bodybuilder, like the football player, like type of thing, have to get all these calories in. Now it's not. Now it's the soccer moms. Everybody's doing that because they want to improve their health. I don't care how much money people have. The most important thing that you have in your life is your health and how you feel. And that's really the bottom line. So and nutrition is a massive part in achieving those goals. Okay. And so we just make it super simple by having micro and macro friendly ingredients here that are super convenient, that it doesn't take time, energy to be an expertise to be able to go and do it. It's super easy. And like you said, it's actually cost effective. It's actually cheaper than buying food without the time and the hassle of putting it together.
Whether you're talking to a person and they don't have a ton of discretionary income, they still have to eat. If you're talking to a person who has a ton of discretionary income, they're still looking for the quickest way to encapsulate and get to their goals, right? It still serves the same process and it still is able to solve that bigger problem for those individuals. What's one piece of advice that you think that you would give our gym owners as they embark like on this journey? Like what's one piece of advice that you give them?
Follow the script, but believe in it. First of all, don't go into this if you don't believe in it, if it doesn't make sense to you. Because if you go half-heartedly to your members, do a consult half-heartedly with it, they're going to sense that. So don't do it. Like, don't go involved in this. Don't do it, because it's going to be more work than it's what it's worth. If you believe in it and you really want to make a difference in the member's life, they will feel that excitement and that passion from you about you wanting to be able to get the results through excellent training, through nutrition, through BioEdge. Then not only will you get the result, they're going to say, yeah, like your attitude is contagious. I love this. I'm going to go do this. And then it's successful 100% of the time.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. I think one piece of advice that I want to add on to that too, and like as I was just thinking about while you were talking, is raise your hand if you're here and you've used or you've sold a different supplement company in the past, whether you've bought a ton of inventory or whether you've drop shipped. Like raise your hand if you've done that, right? Has anybody else done that? All right. I think everybody on the call has done it to some extent. So, okay, here is my rule. And I'm going to look you in the eyes on this. I'm going to try to, you lucky I can't get my camera to give it to me, but I'm going to look you guys in the eyes on this. Is as you're going through this, my one plea is this, is that we have a general rule in sales and we call it, don't be the ex-girlfriend, right? And what I mean by that is whatever the relationship was with the predecessor, that's not the relationship that you have to have moving forward. If for whatever reason that relationship didn't work, whatever that relationship was, don't take that out on this new opportunity. Does that make sense? Remember, there are no feelings in what we are doing. We are establishing metrics to be able to run a more successful business. Increasing the lifetime value of your clients and solving the problem for them is why they're coming to you. Every client comes to you because they see you as a vision and a way to solve the problem to get them closer to where they want to be. Does that make sense to everybody? It just so happens that there has to be a cost associated with that journey. If you can embrace that and don't associate your previous relationship with what you're establishing now, you will be wildly successful. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down?
Absolutely.
This is what we call mailbox money. This is the money that you help people with that continues to roll in because you're doing the job and you're doing it longevity wise. There are a couple differences that I want you guys to take away from this and be like, all right, I know I can do this. Number one, we don't believe in overselling. What we're teaching you is we're teaching you to sell to solve a problem. Is that fair? You guys are the geniuses and you guys are great at what you do. We're here to set up structure so that then we can encapsulate what you do to create a better pathway for success. Is that fair? Number two is when we look at this, we understand the benefits of selling supplements long-term to an individual because it solves a long-term problem for that person. What's beautiful about this is that you can wrap this into your paid in full offers. You can wrap this into other things that you're doing to be able to not have to give away money anymore. And I think that's one of the things that like was negated beforehand, but you can buy wholesale that's less than the 15 to 20% that you're giving away on the paid in full package, solve a long-term problem for an individual, and then get paid in duplicity from it. Does that make sense? And then the last thing about all this is your job is to be honest and It's the whole democratic oath thing again. But your job is to be honest and help the individuals that come directly to you. There's not a gym owner that we've ever been around or that we've ever helped that hasn't said, I want to help my community. I want to grow my community. I can even spill the beans because I had personal relationships with everybody who's here right now in the business, but I know where you guys want to take your businesses. And I understand that like 95% of that is you feel is wrapped into your identity and wrapped into the identity of the clients that you currently have. What if you're just a gym that people saw as a solution where they can come in because they know Sam's going to be honest to them, and they know Trevor's going to be honest, and they know Keith's going to be honest, and he's not going to sell me a ton of stuff. He's going to sell me exactly what I need. I'm just going to take that forever. What if that is a relationship that you have? Do you think you would keep more clients or you think you would lose them? So I want you to think about those three things in regards to like, this is completely relational, but it is also about you building the best business that you possibly can. And so if nobody's ever told you, I told you today. Okay, cool. All right. And the last question just would have been like, where can they go to learn more? But Heather's going to drop the link for everyone. And what we're going to do with it, Rodney, is I know we talked about it a little bit before the call, but what we're going to do, guys, is Heather's going to drop the link. All you'll do is you go in, you'll fill out your information, you'll go through all those pieces. That'll set you up with an onboarding, Rodney, with you and your team, right? Once they fill it out, once you go through all that stuff, you'll go through the onboarding, you'll go through the process, you'll ensure that once those pieces are there, and then I'm currently working to build out pieces for you guys and to build out plays so you have those plays to work directly with them. For anybody who is registered for the time with Rodney, I will personally set up a call with you post this that we will walk through and we'll map out your entire sales process for supplements. So the benefit of being on this call is that you get it done. So you fill out your sheet, you fill out the information. Once that information is filled out, once Rodney lets us know who's onboarded, if you get that filled out before Monday, then I will personally schedule a one-on-one with you and walk you through your entire supplement selling process. Does that sound fair? Does that sound good? Rodney, does that sound good to you?
Yep.
Cool. Heather's like, no, I got to schedule it. But does that sound good to you, Heather?
It sounds good to me. I just want to I know like David's taking the whole call. It's fine. No, I'm just kidding. It was a plan. But I just want to tell you guys how excited we are. Nutrition has always been my thing and the supplement side. And we vetted quite a few people in terms of looking at supplements. The thing is we all know there's like bazillions like of supplements and companies out there. And it is David and I's passion. Like we don't want to introduce something to you guys unless one, we believe in it without a doubt. And it's above everything else. And it has to be a reason, because I remember for all of us, everyone loves change, right? Yeah, you guys just love change. So if you're going to go through and change your supplements, if you're even selling them, or you're going to clean off your shelf of the ones you're not selling or trying to sell because you're not passionate about it, we knew that we had to give you guys something one we're passionate about, so you can also, not because we're passionate about it, but that you guys also believe in it and can be passionate as well. So looking for clean products. We're excited that this is also available in Canada. I know it wasn't mentioned directly on this call that I believe, but there is a distribution center in Canada and in the US. I can tell you we had a few lucky gym owners because of people that have already paid in full with our program, that we ship them some of these supplements to already try ahead of time because we wanted them to get a sneak peek at it and get to try them already. And I can tell you how impressed I am from the moment I placed the order, the actual process and the alerts I got and the speed at which they got them. Like that's another thing. We know people have had issues with stock issues. We know people have, when are they going to get it? I mean, the time frame was impeccable, guys. So even if you don't stock it at your studio, they actually get it really quick. And so I was super impressed. We have some owners that have already tried things and excited about them, but we did this very intentionally and we wouldn't have done it unless we thought it was the best fit for every single one of you. So we are super excited. We really are excited for you guys, whether you do wholesale, whether you guys do direct, or the combination of both. It's really neat that Rodney and the team have the way they set up wholesale for you guys too. It's not what you may think of, and they will work with you and probably have that conversation with you on onboarding because don't think you have to have like 300 items in stock. So please don't mark that out of your head. All of the options that this company has thought of is everything we wanted for you guys. So we're excited. I have to tell that to you because I'm just excited to make sure you guys all get this information and you understand we really believe that this is for every single one of you guys, and we wouldn't have done this or gone through the trouble of this if we didn't think that. So Ronnie, thank you guys for all you've already done with us. Again, I've been blown away every step of the way. So we're excited for all of our owners.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cool. All right, we got 5 minutes left, right? So this is kind of like the 5 minute drill. So any questions that you have for Rodney, any questions that you have for me, any questions that you have for Heather in regards to like supplements or anything that's going there, any questions that you guys have? Is everybody, Sam, do you sign up?
You guys do creatine? Just put it in the browser.
Got Rodney, he said, is there creatine?
There is creatine on the way of just creatine monohydrate. So a commodity, very important, but just a commodity.
Did you hear that?
Yes, thank you.
Trying to get your firefighters right. I see you. Get them dried out. Awesome. Cool. What other questions do we have?
One thing is an advantage, which David and I also like, guys, is like, I know it seems simple. And like David said, people complain and they're like, but you just went and drank this and ate the Snickers and all that stuff. So it was like nails on a chalkboard to all of us, but saying they don't have the red dye, it doesn't have the sucralose, it doesn't have like these certain ingredients. It really takes so many objections, including the cost is absolutely amazing, guys. Like when you're looking at things, and I know Rodney can even give some better comparisons because he's like the expert on these things, on like other products, what they offer. And again, this is like the cleanest you could get. So like when you're looking at this, it's actually overcoming so many objections that you won't even have to deal with now.
Let me say this too. That brought up a very valid point. Has anybody ever sold a supplement and then the person says, I'm not going to buy from you because I saw it on Amazon for less? You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about somebody going to a third-party site, buying this for less expensive than what you can offer it. You automatically have the market share. You've got it at the best price. The only place that they can get it is from you. If they go look it up, they can go spend more, but that seems pointless. But they have to come to you to get it. They can't go anyplace else. So you guys don't have to worry about those price gouging and those items that are directly there for you.
Yeah, and Dave, that's a really important point. That's a huge part of our business model that I didn't mention earlier, is that we don't sell to Amazon, we don't sell to Vitamin Shop, and we don't sell to GNC, even though those big chains want to be able to carry the item, because our focus is on the small business gym owner. And the gym owner will influence their members. And the last thing we want is for a gym owner to be able to influence their 150 members, for example. Then they take those 150 members and then they love the product, but now they go to Amazon because it's got better shipping or cheaper price or something like that. And then you lose the customer, or they come back to you and say, hey, can you match the pricing right here? Well, that's a conversation we don't want you to have to suffer. So we have bitten the bullet and only focusing on our gym owners to be able to allow the gym owners and us to be true partnership.
Love it. Awesome. Sweet. Guys, number one, Rodney, thank you so much for letting me borrow an hour of your day on this Friday, my man. It's always amazing to kind of pick your brain and talk to you about different items. I always feel like I learned something in every interaction with you. So thank you. Thank you so much. For the guys that are on the call, obviously you guys get first dibs. So go ahead and get this thing, go ahead and get the affiliate ship filled out. And then I will see you guys in our one-on-ones. And then,
yes, by the way, we have Adele and Kelsey here and Regina,
and
ladies.
And ladies, if you're not on the call and you're watching this thing and you're like, what do I do? You got until Monday to get it filled out and to get all those pieces out of there. Welcome, Adele. I forgot. Like, welcome officially to your first day. You're
like hiding on your screen. Yeah.
I know. It's your first day, Adele, and you're like, hey, now we have something that we can actually affiliate and send out in Canada that you don't get heavily taxed on. So like, it's a win. So it's an absolute phenomenal win for you. But on the other hand, and Heather, thank you so much for lining up and doing all these things. And I'm just going to say this, and I know I got like a minute left, but I want to say this to all of you guys that are on the call and everybody watching. This is a huge deal. Being able to give you guys an opportunity to sell supplements is a huge deal. And it's something like Heather said, if you look at our strategic partnerships, we're very picky in regards to like who we partner with. And that's on purpose. One, because I think it's the way that it's the way that we're associated when people look at us. But then two, it's also because we want to make sure that we find the best for you guys, the absolute best. And so it almost chokes me up a little bit, but just being so appreciative in regards to like what we're able to do for you guys and then what this will mean long-term for your members and the impact that it'll have, like just super thankful. Thank you guys for hopping on with us.